to see how we can put in measures to make sure that OMCs and BDCs are operating within the framework that they are supposed to work.
Also, freight forwarders and agents at the Kotoka International Airport cargo village left frustrated due to their inability to clear goods from overseas. We'll tell you more and also hear from Ghana Link, which will have a response to this developing story. Plus, the National Population and Housing Census nears completion as 99% of population enumerated so far. We'll hear from the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobna-Aining, on advancement so far. We have all these and more coming up shortly after this break. This day. Hello and welcome. I'm Charles Aite. The National Petroleum Authority, NPA, has set up a committee with full backing from the Energy Ministry to review the price deregulation policy. Now, the committee is drawing its members from the NPA, the Energy Ministry, the Association of Oil Marketing Companies, bulk oil distributing companies, and the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Civil societies in the sector, however, have been asked to submit proposals or make inputs. The authority's action has been influenced by recent concerns by some industry players on the policy introduced in 2015. Abbas Ibrahim Tasunti is head of pricing at the NPA.
The issues of price undercutting have been brought to our attention. But as I mentioned, NPA has a view of all the prices that oil marketing companies are buying products from the BDCs and also what margins they are putting their price board up. Where NPA sees that a company is selling at a price that is unrealistically low, we intervene. But the nature of the market is that you would hardly see anyone selling at a price that does not have a margin. If that is happening, then it means there's an illegality, which NPA is using other means to address. We have several technologies we've introduced to address illicit product trades. However, the differences you see on the price on the market does not mean that there are illegalities ongoing. It's purely because of the competition on the market. That is why you see that those price variations. So if a company is buying at a lower price from a BDC and also is using a lower margin, you definitely expect that that company's price will be lower than the other competitor.
Is there a surety from you that all these OMCs are working within the band? Because some are saying that it is just unrealistic. Some are saying that, listen, there's some level of cartelism and all the rest going on.
So from our point of view, with respect to the pricing, we want to give consumers assurance that we have seen the prices and the prices you see on the market are not something you should be worried about. They are working within what the law says, the prescribed petroleum formula, they are working within that. Whenever NPA, like I said, based on our reviews, we see that a company is pricing unrealistically, action is taken, but that hardly happens because of the level of competition. So with respect to price undercutting in particular, that is something that has come to our attention and we are looking into that.
I get the understanding from you that now there's a committee in place looking at, because the concern in recent times is that, let's take a second look at this whole price deregulation policy. What is this committee doing? Are they looking at the whole deregulation policy or they are just looking at aspects of it?
So as you know, the deregulation policy came into effect in July 2015 and it's exactly 6 years since its implementation. It's only necessary and important that we review it and see whether it is achieving its purpose. So that policy started its work yesterday. And, the goal of the committee is to generally review the policy and see if there are problems that have to be resolved. Naturally, with every policy, its implementation will come with challenges, and one of them is what we've mentioned, the price undercutting. It's one of the things we are looking at to see how we can put in measures to make sure that OMCs and BDCs are operating within the framework that they are supposed to work. So the price regulation policy at the end of the day is going to make recommendations to address some of these issues. But generally, all the stakeholders agree that this regulation policy has worked, but for the players, the BDCs and the OMCs, issues of price undercutting is a concern to them, and we are going to come up with recommendations to address that.
Some of them are worried that it appears that looking at the way the direction of the pricing is going, they may struggle to sustain this policy. They think that the time has come for this policy to be looked at again. Would that also look at that as well, whether we should still even go ahead with the full price regulation or we should get back to the olden days? So
like I told you, almost everyone in the committee, every stakeholder agrees that the price regulation policy is a good policy. So we are only looking at how to make it work properly as expected. So that is what we are doing. We are going to come up with how to make the policy work, but I don't think anyone so far from all the reviews we've heard, anyone wants to go back to regulation because, like you know, the regulating products have its own challenges, which no one really wants to go back to. So we want to see how we can rather make the deregulation policy work better, but not to go back to where we were when we were regulating price and leading to subsidies which government could not afford.
Finally, do I get from you that MP has taken action against some oil marketing companies from lifting because of some concerns?
MPA takes action, and I don't have the numbers in fact with me here, but MPA has taken a number of actions against companies that are involved in illicit activities.
Including lifting as well?
Yes.
And do I get the concern from you that it is happening and it's going to happen as long as these players fail to comply with market regulations?
MPA is not going to allow any company to go against the law. So we are here to make sure that everyone plays by the rules. And like I said, the law is being enforced. If you look at our market, our information we put out recently on in terms of statistics, you see some changes in there. And it's a reflection of some of the actions MPA is taking. And if you speak to industry players, they will tell you some of the actions MPA is taking. So MPA is actually taking actions to make sure that these activities that go against natural business are not allowed to go on.
Away from that to a developing story, Joy Business is learning that freight forwarders and agents at the Kotoka International Airport Cargo Village are frustrated because they are not able to clear goods from overseas for their customers. Now, this is due to the faulty scanning machine used by Ghana Link to scan these goods. It has led to manual scanning of goods, which has been at a very snail pace. It's so slow that they could just not keep up. According to a freight forwarder who spoke to Joy Business on condition of anonymity, the situation has been worsening since Sunday as goods cannot be offloaded from the cargo flights for scanning. Take a listen to him.
Since Sunday, incoming flights, the shipment from incoming flights cannot be scanned because apparently the scan is defect. It's been defect for quite some time now, and I think they were doing it manually. Some way, somehow, something happened, I don't know what, but it looks like now they are not even doing it manually. So the shipments from flights from since Sunday are all stacked up there. It's not even coming to the warehouse, Swissports, the state warehouse for freight forwarders and to clear and to deliver it to customers. Now, so basically what is going to happen is this, people's shipment is going to be delayed, perishable shipment is going to get bad, and then storage will come in because and then storage you have to pay storage, which is not going to be taken up by whoever is in charge or whoever is responsible to do the scanning. So today, for instance, nothing went on because virtually no shipment came through to the warehouse. Apparently, I've heard that the minister in charge of the sector has been here, and now they are using sniffer dogs to sniff out I don't know what, but so that's the process that is going on now.
Forwarder at the Kotoka International Airport, the Cargo Village, specifically expressing worry about the inability to clear goods for their customers because of the faulty scanner there. Let's get a response from the company in question, Ghana Link. Norvan Akwa-Hayford is the public relations manager of Ghana Link, and he joins us via Zoom. Norvan, we're so grateful that you joined us. You did hear the stranded freight forwarder. Has this come to your notice? If you could kindly unmute your microphone, Norvan.
Can you hear me?
You're loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Okay, so indeed it came to our attention on Sunday. The scanner at the airport developed some kind of fault. But you'd agree with me that on Sunday it was a bit difficult after an evaluation was done by our technical team and then the IT guys. And so certain parts needed to be replaced. And that could not be done on Sunday, so we had to wait until Monday. Further evaluation was done, and then we realized that there's some work that needed to be done. In fact, our guys had been working frantically day and night to make sure that they restore the scanner, which is at the airport, let me put it that way. And as I speak to you, Charles, so yesterday in the afternoon, the scanner came back on stream. It's working as fine as it should. And so as of today, there is no problem at the airport. Things are going on as they should. I want to apologize to our brothers and sisters, that is the freight forwarding community, but you should understand that these are machines, and you would always have machines developing fault one way or the other as they are being used. And they've been working, these machines have been working almost sometimes 24 hours because of, the cargo that comes in. So we had to quickly work, and the team, I would say they did a very good job and ensure that yesterday by afternoon, this machine had come back on stream. And so it's been working as fine as it should.
But of course, if you listen to the concerns raised by these freight forwarders, their goods have been stuck, they've been stranded, and it begs the question, I mean, why did we get to this end?
Charles, I think I did indicate that these are machines. And let me give you a simple example. Just like the laptop that you are using. I mean, you've been using these laptops and you can develop a fault and you want to hand it over to your IT guys to deal with it. And machines as they are, day in and day out, as you use them, the wear and tear of it would develop one fault or the other. It needed an equipment to be replaced. I mean, when we did evaluation, it wasn't just any other thing. Don't forget, we've been doing what we call maintenance day in and day out, and some scheduled maintenance and all that on these machines. And this is the first time this is coming to bear on all of us that, a part had developed a fault and it needed to be replaced as soon as possible. And when we saw that, we made them aware that this is the challenge that we have, and we worked frantically to ensure that it had been restored. And that's why I did indicate that we are sorry for what did happen, but it wasn't something that had been persistent for a very long time. This happened on Sunday, and then as of yesterday, it had been restored and is working as fine as it should.
Of course, this could come as good news to the freight forwarders. But moving forward, Northern, how can we, forestall, these happenings from repeating themselves and ensuring that there is a smooth process at the cargo village?
Charles, machines are machines. There's not much that you can do about it. Sometimes what is important is that I told you, we've been doing the scheduled maintenance that we are supposed to. This is a part of the machine that, failed and ought to be replaced, and we have gotten it replaced. And we're going to ensure that, these scheduled maintenance will be done day in and day out and ensure that there is that free flow of work and that the value chain, there are no breaks within it. And that is why I took the opportunity to say that, listen, it was no true fault of ours, but it is a machine. It has happened. That has been resolved. We apologize for the short period within which, work came to a standstill at the cargo village. We ought to work hard to ensure that this machine was replaced. The part was replaced, and that has been done. And so we assure the community, the freight forwarding community at the airport. In fact, they have been very tremendous. They have been patient with us, and we are grateful to them for that level of patience that they've had, and the commitment that they've had with us, and also joining hands with us to ensure that these things, don't happen. We are grateful to them for that. But as I have said, it was a problem and it has been resolved. Yes, and we're grateful to them for their patience.
Yes, and of course, we appreciate that. But moving forward, we have also spoken to some of the freight forwarders who say that, we can't rely just on one scanner. Maybe we could make provisions for, an area of them so that we could fall on others should others become faulty. How do you respond to this particular suggestion?
I think that these are things that are on the table that are being looked at, and I think that the various stakeholders, government, the cargo village themselves, the freight forwarders, and we as a company are willing to provide all the services as is being requested by government. We cannot just get up and come and place an equipment at the airport. It needs some level of what I would say, all the stakeholders coming together, especially with government and the airport managers providing space for it. And so we are looking at it, and we can assure them that all these things will be looked at, and as soon as possible, as in the very shortest possible time, when all the things that needs to be done or the various issues have been resolved, why not? If we have to put a new scanner at the airport, we will put a new scanner over there.
Norman, we're so grateful for your input. He's the public affairs manager of Ghana Link. They're explaining to us developments that, has to do with, the clearing of goods at the airport's cargo village. You're still watching The Marketplace with me, Charles Aite. We're going for a short break. We'll be right back. Do stay. The The Ghana Statistical Service has begun training over 400 field officers to undertake evaluation of the 2021 population and housing census. Now, the post-enumeration survey is usually conducted after the census to determine if the census data was reliable, accurate, and up to international standard. At the post-enumeration survey training workshop for field officers at Winneba, the Deputy Government Statistician, Dr. Faustina Frimpong, called for the cooperation of the general public as the exercise will give the country an accurate picture of the population in Ghana. Rachel Kojonako has more in this report.
The Deputy Government Statistician, Dr. Faustina Frimpong Engwa, told the field officers the post-enumeration survey was an important component of the entire population and housing census exercise.
They will be deployed to go to the field and they will work in the sampled enumeration areas to be able to do a re-enumeration. We have selected questions that they will go to these households, making reference to the census night, that is 27 June, to be able to identify how many people were in these households and what was their age and a few characteristics, using that one to be able to evaluate what was done in the main activity. All we seek to do to ensure complete coverage. You know, census is enormous, huge. We've gone to all other areas. Sometimes people can call and say, I was not enumerated, or other issues. This is independent to be able to measure, indeed, were there any undercount or overcount, or were there anything that was missed? And this will help us evaluate the main census to be able to know what was the coverage and, if any, the error that was committed.
Director of Social and Demographic Statistics of the Ghana Statistical Service, Anthony Amuzufarian, explains how different this exercise that is going to be carried out is from the main population and housing census.
There's a difference between the actual census activity and that of the way PS is conducted, and that is why we need to train them. So we have gathered here to train them for 12 days on the method they are supposed to use to go and use and collect the data. The procedures are slightly different from that of the census, and that is the importance of this training.
Chief Technical Advisor with the UNFPA, Dr. Collins Opio, says for the Ghana Statistical Service to satisfy themselves that the exercise covered everybody, the evaluation exercise was necessary.
And once that information is collected, because it's independent, we are going to match it against the corresponding census information for those households and see if everybody that should have been covered during the census has been covered, or if anyone was missed, or if anyone was counted more than once. So that's basically it. It's an evaluation mechanism for the census process, not because census is wrong, but because we want to be sure that the census was right.
The 400 field officers would begin the post-enumeration survey on the 25th of August, where they are expected to independently collect data. The exercise would last for 21 days. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejenyako, Winneba.
Meanwhile, government statistician has been providing an update on the 2021 census, saying that more than 99% of the population has so far been enumerated. According to him, enumerators are, however, struggling with communities where access is restricted. Now, this includes gated estates and some remote areas in the country.
Population and housing census. We are keeping our call center active because some of these people who have declined to participate are requesting that we give them access to the law that gives us permission to do census on a decennial basis, and we are happy to continue to engage these people for them to provide the needed data as we wrap up data collection for the 2021 population and housing census. Another reason why we are grappling with less than 1% of the population, specifically 0.6% of the population, are areas that we have restricted access. This has nothing to do with the respondents in there. As was indicated, is the management of these restricted areas, specifically areas around areas in Lejokuku district, specifically around the Airport Hills areas. We're going to continue to engage to ensure that we get access to these communities to ensure that they are enumerated. With the foreign communities, as was indicated in our last release, we are counting on other state institutions, i.e. the Ghana Immigration Service, to help us get access to these areas. Otherwise, we'll move ahead to bring a complete closure to our call center and data collection for the 2021 population and housing census come 18th August 2021.
Yeah, welcome back to the marketplace. Now, of course, when it comes to corporate Ghana, there are so many responsibilities in terms of corporate social responsibility. And for that, the management of the whole teaching hospital is currently here to appeal for funds for some equipment, the purchase of equipment for the Cardiothoracic Center. And thankfully, we're joined in studio by the head of the Cardiothoracic Center to help us understand the challenges involved and the call to corporate Ghana to come to the aid of the hospital. Professor, we're so grateful that you joined us on the marketplace. How dire is the situation?
The problem is that in this country, we have only one cardiothoracic center, and that doesn't augur well for patients who are not living in Accra. So if somebody is living in Ho, for example, he has to make a journey of 200 kilometers to get to Accra to get treatment. And so the idea for this center is that people who live in that community would have access to the same center, same services that we have in Kolibri. Yes.
Great. So why corporate Ghana?
So the important thing is that we believe corporate Ghana, every corporation has got some corporate social responsibility, and we believe if they channel this, this is a very good cause for them to use their resources for.
So how much are we looking at? What's the target fund?
We are looking at $3.2 million.
$3.2 million.
That's right.
And what are the avenues for support?
So if people want to support, they can go to the banks. We have 6 banks listed for this. We have the Fidelity Bank, we have GCB Bank, we have Consolidated Bank, a few other banks. And then there are platforms for doing this on using SMS and then using Momo.
But finally, before we go, the Volta region, a very good position for tourism, and out of it also has to do with health tourism. Right. Now that you're advocating for support to help the Cardiothoracic Center, how do we balance health tourism with tourism in the Volta region from your perspective?
No, I think that's very important because anybody traveling anywhere wants to be sure that when they get there and they're in trouble, they have access to good health care. Anywhere in the world, Cardiothoracic Center, the services that are provided there, they form a key component of caring for people who are critically ill. If you travel anywhere and you get a heart attack and you don't have a Cardiothoracic Center, you have a big problem. And so we believe that if we're able to establish this center in that region, it will boost tourism a great deal. All
right, Professor, we're so grateful. And in his hand is the pamphlet, for the call to corporate Ghana to assist in the establishment of this Cardiothoracic Center. Of course, as he rightly stated, if this thing comes to fruition, we're going to be having not just tourism, but also health tourism in the Volta region. So we're so grateful, Professor, that you could join us here on the marketplace. And we're also calling on corporate Ghana to assist in this venture. But away from that, the Ghana Enterprises Agency, GEA, formerly the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, and an agency under the Ministry of Trade and Industry, is implementing the deadly COVID-19 response grant program as part of the World Bank-funded Ghana Economic Transformation Project and the Ghana Tourism Development Project. Now, among the participants of the forum were hoteliers, drinking bar operators, and food vendors. JoyNews Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Moa.
The COVID-19 Response Grant Program under the Economic Transformation and Tourism Development Projects seeks to provide emergency liquidity and relief to small and medium enterprises aimed at reducing the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Ghana Enterprises Agency, in collaboration with the Ghana Tourism Authority in the Upper West region, knowing the benefits of the grants, quickly organized an educational forum for the industry players to assess the grant and also to inform those who are not aware about the grant application. Mohamed Abdul Mumin is the Upper West Regional Manager of the Ghana Enterprises Agency. He threw more light on the qualification criteria for the grants.
The portals are open for application, and we've realized that most people are not aware of this window. And then with our discussion with Ghana Tourism Authority, we said it would be wise, at least, to see how we can harness our human resource together and bring these people together and take them through the window, how to assess and answer some of the pertinent questions that is bothering them.
Upper West Regional Director of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Moses Indewini Indeburi, is of the firm belief that there will be an increase in the number of successful applicants who will be getting the free grant to improve their businesses.
In fact, it has been overwhelmed. even by, you could see how the people were even asking the questions. I mean, they are very happy, and we are equally very happy. But we are not stopping here. We will still open our doors to still provide services as far as the applications are concerned, to ensure that a large chunk of the people have successful applications.
Madam Adisa Ejengu manages Gem Guest House. She lamented about the effect of the deadly disease, which has made her lay off some of her staff and also withdraw some services at the guest house. She was, however, happy with the forum as it would enable her to apply for a grant without any difficulty.
Well, it will help me if I get the grant. At the beginning of the COVID, I had to lay off some of my workers. I also stopped certain things from operating, the bar and drinks and other things. We stopped them from operating, and that made us to lose a lot of income. And the workers too, I laid off, we couldn't pay them. So if I'm able to get this grant, at least I'll be able to pay some of them and also start the drinking business again.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wow.
And of course, back here in Accra, that's how we end the marketplace with me, Charles Ayete. For more news, you log on to myjoyonline.com/business, where you get all the updates of business, sports, entertainment, and politics. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs.